kind of where we're focused today, is on the manufacturing, on the shop floor, what production control, what analysis do we have in finance and supply chain. Starting with the product, this is a bill of material that I have. I'm going to go into the route, and this is where we can start to identify all of the operations that need to be done in order for us to report as finished. I have things like runtime. I can identify the process quantity that can be produced within that runtime. I'm also going to be associating what is the next step. That becomes important when we get to the manufacturing execution system. So the system knows exactly when we need to move on. I'm looking at the applicable resources. This could be a worker. It could be a specific area within the production floor, or it could be a piece of equipment that we're going to be working off of. That becomes very important if we're going to be using the asset management functionality. And then when I'm looking at my capacity reservations, it's all tying back to that route. What step are we at? What is the resource that we're going to be using? And what is the estimated time that a particular production order or a batch of orders are going to be directly within our production floor? Then we get to our production scheduling. Move on to my scheduling. There we go. Okay, so here's all the production orders that I have. I can go one by one and I can start to schedule these out, or I can do it more in batch. So we really have two options. We have operations and we have job scheduling, which is going to enable you to schedule multiple productions in order of their assigned priority. They are different from each other in the level of detail that they give you. Generally, operation scheduling is used for long-term scheduling at the resource group level, while that job scheduling is used for short-term scheduling at a detailed or specific resource level. When I'm looking at the scheduling direction here, we can go forward or we can go backward based on the date that is associated below kind of what you see here. One of the basic principles of scheduling is to decide on that scheduling direction that you have. So forward is going to help you schedule your production to start at the earliest date possible. It will run forward in the time, and the production will be scheduled at the end, at the earliest possible end date. If machine capacity is booked today, this scheduling option will schedule production to start at the time when the machine capacity is actually free. Backward scheduling is going to begin at as late as possible without jeopardizing the target deadline that's going to be met. Here at the finite capacity, you can either do finite or infinite capacity. Infinite is your unlimited, where finite is limited. So if it is finite, it is going to be looking at my resource capacity. What production orders are out there? What is the time allocated to each of those machines on the production orders? And then how do we schedule based off of that? So as you go through it, it is looking at all of these different factors to determine what can we actually schedule and from what date are we actually looking at that. What we're looking at right now is a Gantt chart that is going to show us here's all the production orders and here's all the steps and operations that are currently scheduled. So it gives me a little bit of a visual here to show me the sequencing of all of the different operations that are going to be done within my production floor. And then I have the ability to do some drag and drop as I go through and look at that Gantt chart. As I showed you how we do that from the individual production order, this is a periodic task section where I can actually schedule a batch of production orders all at the same time. It's the exact same stream we looked at before, but this is going to be more in bulk, in mass, rather than going one by one, as I showed you when we were looking at it directly from the production order. And then lastly here, I can look at my capacity reservations. This is then going to show me the production orders, the operation that we are currently at, and what resources are going to be utilized. So all of these screens I'm going into now is just giving us a different view of what is available from a scheduling perspective. The nice thing with this is as I'm going through the production order and I'm starting different jobs or different operations, there is going to be a real-time date stamp that gets associated with those. So I can estimate the time it's going to take. I can also get real-time visibility into when did I start that job? When did it end? How long did that take for me? This is a view of the production jobs that are currently open. As we are going through the manufacturing execution system, and I'm starting something, I'm pausing something, I'm stopping something, I'm getting that visibility in real time. This is an inquiry that I'm looking at, but we could build this out into a Power BI report that your operations team has visibility into. They can see all of the production orders that are out there or all of the batch orders that you might have out there, and they can get real-time insight into what is actually happening at that work cell. Where are we? Where do we have a bottleneck? All right, let's take a look at the terminal that is available to us. So in my production module, I can go into my production floor execution terminal. This, you do have to log in. The system then knows the user that has logged in. When I look at the configuration, we can change the layout. So the layout that you see today is just what I had put in. And now we can break down what we see by our production unit, our resource group, or our individual resource. Where that becomes important is if we have a shop floor that has multiple different work centers, multiple different pieces of equipment, and I need to track quantity at each piece of equipment, at each work cell. Also, I don't want anything to move on and show as available to the next step of the operation until I am complete with it. So if I configure this to an individual resource, as I go through this process, what it's going to do is not only going to track time, but it's going to track where I am at my work cell. And it will not show up to the next work cell until I am complete with what I'm doing. So you can configure this in a way that there is a segregation of duties and there's a handoff that happens after you complete from one piece of equipment to the next. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here. This is my badge ID that I have. So again, the system knows exactly who I am when I log into this. So as I go through, my worker ID is going to be stamped. This is showing me all of the operations or jobs that are visible to my terminal. I have a lot of these that are paused, but it's going to give us the operation number, the production order, the description, the product, and what requested quantity are we actually needing to complete through this process. On the left-hand side, I can log breaks. I can put in specific activities that I'm working on, or I can leave the terminal and stop my timer. On the right-hand side, I can start the job. I can create a bundle. I may maybe have work instructions that are going along with it. And here I can request maintenance. So if I'm using the asset management module and a machine breaks down or it needs some type of inspection as I'm working on it, I can request maintenance from here. It'll stop that operation and it'll create a maintenance request to my maintenance team. They can get notified of that, but it is going to be logged directly within the system. When I click on it, the production order, I'm going to get some detail here at the bottom, and then I can select to start that job. I want to make sure it's the correct operation, and then what quantity am I projected to produce here. When I start it, it is now stamped with my user ID and the time that I started that job. It now moves into my active jobs list. So again, I get the detail on the bottom of the product, the operation, all of that. I can report progress. I can report scrap. I can adjust the material that I have. Maybe I was overpicked or maybe I was underpicked. I want to adjust that material. I want to go grab something and update what I am actually consuming onto this production order. This is also where I could potentially create a co and a byproduct off of this production run. So here I am going to say that I have produced a quantity of 1. I can pause this if I need to, but I'm going to say that I am complete, and I'm going to go ahead and report my progress. What this does then is it takes it out of operation 10 that I believe we were on. It takes it out of my active jobs. It takes it out of this terminal potentially as well. And now this production order will show on the next work cell for operation 20. Whoever is performing that task now has visibility into this, and now they can get started. I want to focus on the power of that tool. Maybe one of the biggest things is not just capturing actual labor compared to our estimate, so we have reporting capabilities off of that, but it allows me to take it a step further and create maintenance work off of this. Again, if a machine goes down, I can create a maintenance request, which then is going to be directly tied to this resource, as well as directly tied to this production order and the operation where we stopped it. If that does happen and we go all the way back to where I was doing my scheduling, scheduling is going to take that into account for what it can actually schedule out. If there's a maintenance request, it's break fix, and that piece of machinery is down, the system's going to know I can't schedule anything to that resource until that maintenance order is complete. All right, and lastly, production analysis. So there's a lot of different reports that are in the system that we can look at for how we're performing from a production perspective. But what I want to look at here is we have production floor management. This is a workspace that you can log into that is going to give you information on how many production orders do we have out there? What is the status of those jobs or of those operations? Give me a list of anything that we need to complete or we might have a deviation in. So I have individual tracking of those deviations or what is maybe on backlog. Everything that you see here is what's out of box. Typically during an implementation, we build on top of this. We add in additional inquiries, additional reports, maybe embed some Power BI reports into this that give us maybe a one-stop shop for anybody that's managing the production floor. They can live in that workspace. They can get to all the information that they need. Talking about embedded Power BI, there is a production performance Power BI report that is fed in real time from the data that we are updating on our production floor. On the bottom, there's multiple different tabs that we can get into, but I just want to point out on day one of you implementing D365 F&SCM, you get this without any configuration. Very similar to that workspace that we looked at. It is out of box. Everything that you see here is just standard from Microsoft, but we build on top of this. What do you really need to filter down to? Do we need to add some additional pages in here to get different information embedded into this Power BI report? But we're looking at things like defects by product, defect trend by product, production variance for job order costing. So you're able to see, what did we estimate? What was the actual? Because again, when we go through that MES system, it's capturing actual information that we can then reference later. And if we need to go back and change anything, we can change it based on the information that we have in the system. There's also within my cost management, there is a cost analysis embedded Power BI report that I can look at specific for my production. So that's that cost analysis workspace. And I can filter this down to inventory, standard cost variance, or my manufacturing accounting analysis. As we go through that process, we're posting route card journals, pick list journals, our report as finished journal. All of that information is automatically getting posted back to the ledger in real time. So I can always come in here and I can look at my cost analysis for my manufacturing.